Padres and the Yankees. King for the Padres been really, really good. Schmidt for the Yankees. Bad first 2 starts, but solid outing last game. How do you see this game?
Yeah, so I did a video yesterday just talking about this matchup for yesterday's game. And I'll say what I said yesterday. Again, the Padres are such an intriguing handicap because the books had to discount this team about a week and a half into the season because of injuries. So Jake Cronenworth goes down. Jackson Merrill goes down. Those 2 players are, I mean, especially Merrill is just an elite player at this point. You had to sort of discount this team. Then they have all the pitching injuries that they came into the season with. Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Matt Waldron went down early into the season. And this team has done nothing but win baseball games. They're now 23-11. I believe it's the highest win percentage behind the Dodgers. We all know the Dodgers are the elite team in Major League Baseball this year. And so, but Andy, they still hold it against the Padres for being banged up. And yet we're a month in to this team being like the team that's on the field. That's what I talked about yesterday. I couldn't believe the Padres were as big of an underdog as they were in that game. And of course, what did they do? They found a way once again to win the game. You would have cashed at a nice plus money yesterday. Now, today's price isn't as appealing. You're looking at like minus 105 both ways. At least it was earlier when I checked. But still, like the trade-off here today is you're getting the far better starting pitcher. Michael King, he was part of the Juan Soto trade. So, he was a former Yankee, came over when they traded for Soto. He's kind of emerged as like a legitimate starter in Major League Baseball at this point. I don't know if I'm ready to call him an ace, but he's got very good numbers. 1.01 whip, a 191 batting average against, was very good in the playoffs last year for the Padres. He is such a better option than Clark Schmidt right now. As you mentioned, he had one good start, but this is a guy that got his season started late with an injury, really collectively hasn't looked great. 5.57 ERA, 1.43 whip. They actually pushed his start back. So over the weekend, he kind of had some soreness in his left side. He wanted to pitch. Yankees were like, "Now let's pump the brakes and push you off a couple of days." But his injury, Andy, was a right. It was like tendonitis in his right arm. Now he's got an injury on his left side. I just try to read the tea leaves a little bit. That's just not great. It sounds to me like he could be overcompensating a little bit for the injury. Maybe the injury isn't fully healed. These are the kind of things that I've noticed watching baseball long enough where they end up on the IL, like they get blown up and then a week later they're back on the IL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, those tea leaves you can read the tea leaves sometimes with some of those injuries. Absolutely. Giants and Cubs. Cubs, big favorite. What's interesting? Both teams, I think they have the same record, 22-14. Cubs are first in their division. Giants are third. You just happen to be in a better division. Cubs big minus 165 favorite. Cubs won the first game of the series 9-2. Got Verlander pitching for the Giants. Who you like today?
Yeah, that might be a historically good National League West, too. That's a topic for a different day, but that is a loaded division. But, Andy, the Cubs have played the toughest schedule in baseball to this point, so you can make a case both ways. The Verlander thing is super interesting to me. Like, it's so interesting to me when these veteran guys that are, like, probably Hall of Fame guys get to the end of their career, and it's like, and we're still betting on them like Verlander. It goes one of two ways. One, for a while, you have to pay for the name, and it's not worth betting on a guy like Verlander because you're paying for the name of what the guy was in his prime. But right now, the market has like gone the other direction on Verlander a little bit, got off to a little bit of a slow start, and I'm seeing a price here of like plus 145, and now I'm looking at it like, okay, you might not get Verlander like Cy Young Verlander, but this is still a veteran guy. His numbers are pretty good. He's not giving up a ton of hard contact. Still, the strikeouts are okay. He started to pitch better. And this is the kind of guy that I'd want to have at Wrigley Field against a Cubs lineup that's been like pretty much hitting everyone. Give me the veteran guy that kind of knows how to pitch in and out of these situations at this price, right? Which is clearly inflated at this point. This, even from where this opened this morning, the Cubs are now like a minus 160 favorite with Colin Rea on the mound, who, he's got an ERA of 1.46, a whip of 1.05. But I can just about guarantee there's going to be regression there. There's no way that he is keeping those numbers what they are over the course of the season. And then you want to look at the potential big advantage here for the Giants. they have a pretty considerable bullpen edge. Like, I love this Cubs team. I want to preface that by saying I'm very high on the Cubs, but if I was to point out a weakness, it's their bullpen, without a doubt. And the Giants right now, number 2 in the league in bullpen ERA. Do I think they're the second best bullpen? No. But do their peripherals rate out like top 10? Yes. Like, they're probably a top 10 bullpen, and that is a considerably sort of better rating than where I have the Cubs from a bullpen standpoint. So what you have to ask yourself, are the Cubs going to come out and just rock Verlander? I don't, as hot and as good as the Cubs have been offensively, I don't think they are. I think Verlander's done well enough where he can navigate 5 or 6 innings. Could the Giants turn around and lay into Rhea? Maybe, because he's probably got it coming for him at some point. At this price point, plus 145, you can only look at the Giants.
But I know MLB is your $5 play, but tell us about the baseball plays.
Yeah, just grinding away. It's a 6-month grind. And when you're trying to do 3 baseball leagues, it's like 6 months times 3. MLB's actually been my best, which I got to be honest, Andy, that surprises me only because I think it's the toughest of the 3 markets to beat. I know you're great at hunting value in some of these, like, smaller off markets. That's kind of what AAA baseball and KBO baseball is, right? Like, it theoretically, it should be a more beatable market. So I'm pretty encouraged by the fact that I'm like slightly ahead in MLB and that I'm chasing units in the other 2, because I think over the course of a 6-month season, it's going to be a little bit easier to win in KBO and AAA. So I'm positive about where that's going over the next couple months, because I think bigger sample size, it tends to be, we'll probably get some of those wins back that we lost in April. Major League Baseball, I can't complain. Last 50 plays, 28 and 22, it's 56%, 20.28 units. Lost a very frustrating 5%er last night with the Mariners in extra innings. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. But other than that, MLB's been solid. The 5%ers have been hitting, I think, like 4 in one of my last 5 there. So can't complain. And I'm going to try to get it back tonight. I've got a 4%er. It's part of $5 Tuesday. And I'm pretty confident we're back in the win column today.